Today I'm with Nicole Garrity, the Program Director for the Safe Harbor Cohasset Coalition. In 2013, Nicole graduated from UMass Amherst with a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Health. She was the chair for HAPSA, the Hull Alliance for Prevention of Substance Abuse. She also served as a Senior Prevention Specialist at Manat Community Health Center. Nicole, it's a pleasure to have you.
Nice to meet you.
So let's start.
Thanks for having me.
Just a little personal thing. We know that your full name's Nicole Garrity, but you're getting
Yes.
married soon. So will your name remain Nicole Garrity?
It will not.
Or will it be changed to?
We're getting married in a month, and it will be Nicole Balashi.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now let's get into your career here at the Safe Harbor Coalition.
Sure.
How did you get into this career of, substance abuse prevention?
Sure. So I've always known that I wanted to get into a career that gave back in some way, and I've always had a passion for health. So when I went to UMass Amherst, I thought I'm going to do biology, be on their pre-med track, and I'm going to become a nurse. And then I took a public health 101 class my freshman year, and that really opened my eyes to the broad population health. And so I switched my major, and I graduated with public health. And then once I graduated, I went on to Brigham and Women's, working in their anesthesiology department. And I saw, many residents that unfortunately fell down the wrong track, having the access to, addictive substances. So I went on for my master's in public health and went into prevention. And I worked with active users when I was at Manat Community Health Center. And then through my work there, I wanted to prevent it even more and saw the opportunity to work for Safe Harbor, and that's where I'm here trying to prevent it from happening.
And who was your greatest influence when you started this work, and even people you met along the way?
Yeah, I would say my greatest influence is really my friends and family. There's not one specific person. I think they all kind of build on my character and my morals. If I had to pinpoint one particular person, I'd probably say my mom, because she is my hardest critic and my biggest cheerleader. So she's influenced me into the path that I took to give back. Yeah.
Now you work with a lot of students and young adults.
Yep.
What are some of the rewards you get out of talking with them and working alongside them?
Yeah, honestly, one of the biggest challenges working with young adults and teens is their schedule. If I'm being completely honest, they have, I feel like, busier schedules than myself or you or I. And so getting them to be available to work with us in the first place is the biggest challenge. But once they're with us, it's the greatest reward. We get to see each individual kind of grow into their own personal selves. We've worked, just in September, we've had, I think, about 11 full-time meeting every week students between grades 7 through 10, and we've just seen some of their own personal selves grow, whether it's confidence, self-worth, and just fully being engaged with their community. It's been awesome.
Can you tell us a bit about some of the programs that are offered by Safe Harbor?
Sure. So we target grades 12 or ages 12 through 17, and then we also work with parents. So some of the programs that we have for our teens are Ground Level Cafe. It's once a month, Friday nights. It's just a place where they can come, and it's alternative to going to parties, and they can come and perform. Some of them on the stages are amazing. If they don't want to perform, they can come and play games, hang out, eat snacks, drink coffee. It's a good time. And then we also have our Youth Ambassador program. So that is a program for any of the youth in Cohasset, again, grades 7 through 12. If they want to get involved with their community in any way, we try and build on advocacy skills, public speaking skills, presentation skills, and again, just building their own confidence and self-worth. And then for the parents, we have Guiding Good Choices workshops. We've had opioid panels, vaping presentations, and then we always have resources here. One of our biggest events that we just started was and is our Candlelight Vigil that happens every August, and that's to kick off Recovery Month.
Yeah. And where can people go to find out about the upcoming events?
They can go onto our website, safeharborcohasset.org. But our biggest place would be our newsletter. It goes out every single week on Thursday. So if they want to join our newsletter, they'll find out all about our events, everything happening in the news, resources. Just hop on that website, join our newsletter, and then they'll be good to go. We are big on Facebook as well. We'll share our events on there. Instagram, we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have some kids working on our Instagram. We're not too savvy there.
Now, where are some new directions you want to take Safe Harbor that perhaps they haven't gotten involved in yet?
Yeah, so through some of the survey data that we've gotten, in the past we've always tend to focus just on substance use, vaping, alcohol, marijuana, opioids. But we've seen from the data that there's a lot of underlying mental health issues, so we're trying to take it in a direction that's, it encompasses it all. And working on some programs. We have an intern now, and she's focusing on getting some curriculum into our youth ambassador program that will focus primarily on mental health and addressing kind of that social, emotional well-being.
Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about the funding for Safe Harbor and where that comes from?
Sure. So we are completely grassroots. We thrive off donations. We just became a 501c3, so it's tax refundable, but we did receive a DFC grant, which is a drug-free community grant, federal funding for 5 years. And we received that September 2017, so we have that through September 2022. And through that, it's $125,000 a year. And that goes primarily just to professional development and personnel. So any programming, any materials that we get comes solely from donations.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say are some of the more popular events hosted by Safe Harbor?
Definitely our ground level cafe for sure. And we're working on getting a teen center. We have a great relationship with recreation department and the library as well. So we're working on those types of programs and expanding, as well as alternative Friday nights, and in addition to the ground level cafe, which will be movie nights at Second Congregational Church.
Mm-hmm. Now, to get you to know you a bit more personally, what is something that's very satisfying coming out of this work?
I would say the most satisfying part about it is making the community connection. I'm not from Cohasset. I don't live in Cohasset. So it's been really satisfying to kind of build rapport with business owners and residents, and really building strong connections with the youth of Cohasset, and having an open door policy where they feel comfortable enough with me to come and share if something's going on. And same with parents. I've had parents just drop in just to talk, get some advice. And that's been super satisfying because I feel like there's small impacts being made, and hopefully they'll carry it on for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you're not working at Safe Harbor, what's something you enjoy doing in your personal life?
there's many things. One is eating. Eating is my favorite hobby. But I also teach Kick It by Eliza, so about four days a week I'm doing that as just kind of a stress relief. Huge into running. I love running, or walking my dog, the big Rhodesian Ridgeback, and hanging out with my friends and family.
All right, fantastic. Now, is there anything about Safe Harbor that perhaps the public may not be that aware of that's something they should know?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, we are completely based off of volunteers. We're always open to input. I don't know if people realize that. So if there's a program that they want to see in town that relates to parents or youth, if there's curriculum that they want to see, resources that they need, any type of community event, come and let us know. Help out. We're always looking for helping hands. And like, for example, our opioid panels, or if we have more vaping presentations, if there's things that they'd like to see differently next time, we take that fully in consideration.
And to conclude, is there any message you want to leave the people of Cohasset with?
My message for Cohasset is that always remember that we're here for you as a resource, for you, your family, anyone who is struggling, and we thank you for any volunteer work that you've put in, and we thank you for any volunteer work that you're going to put in the future. Today
I'm meeting with Kevin McCarthy. Kevin is the chair of the Board of Selectmen here in Cohasset. Prior to serving as chair, Kevin was the vice president for Dunkin' Donuts before leaving and becoming an attorney. Kevin has served for over 6 years and has done an amazing job here. Kevin, it's a pleasure to have you.
Great. Thank you very much for having me here, Jack. I'm delighted to be here with Cohasset 143 TV station.
Well, I'm happy to have you. So let's start. When did you join the Selectmen, and at what point were you appointed chairman?
I started in 2014. It was just under 6 years ago. This is my sixth year. And the first time I was chair was on my third year. I was elected as chairman of the board that year. And I served for a year doing that, and then here I am in the sixth year, and I was chosen again to be chairman.
Fantastic. And what are some of the duties of the Selectmen, and how does it differ from being the chair?
Well, the Selectmen are the oversight board, sort of like the board of directors for the town. They set the policy and general direction for the town. The Selectmen do, and as far as the administration and actual functioning of the town, then we delegate that. That goes to the town manager and all the wonderful employees we have. So we set the overall policy direction, and we do it as a board. And when we make decisions, and what you do is you make decisions, you do deliberation, and then 3 votes generally carries whatever the policy decision is. Then it goes over to the town manager for implementation. The chairman, the main function, or one of the main functions of the chairman is he or she sets the agenda for each of the board meetings. So we meet every 2 or 3 weeks. I generally will sit down and meet with the town manager, Chris Senior. We work out what the agenda will be, and then we bring it to the board. Once the board's together, the main function of the chairman is to just moderate the discussion. It's once we're there as a board, it's the board controls the whole situation, and the function is mostly to moderate discussion.
Yeah. Now you have a background in corporate climate as well as law. How have those 2 backgrounds helped you in being a part of this board?
I must say, yeah, they helped me quite a bit. I mean, from my business background, it's very helpful for me when we have businesses come before us with various issues or permits or problems or difficulties. I've had a good deal of experience in dealing with business problems. I was a development director for Dunkin' Donuts, as well as I was an operations director and vice president. And so I've had a lot of experience. That has really helped in terms of making decisions and also working with boards and making group decisions. Legal background is very helpful to be on a board of selectmen, or really a lot of the boards. Some boards not so much, but the board of selectmen is it's very helpful because we deal in a lot in regulations. We're responsible for the town warrant. That's one of the main functions of the board selection, is that selectmen is that we produce the town warrant for the town, and that's all legal language, and we have to work with attorneys and making sure what we put on the town warrant is appropriate in its language. So it's very helpful in being an attorney.
Now, can you tell us a bit about some of the regulations on the board? Like, for example, how long are the terms, and can you serve? Is there a maximum number of terms you can serve?
No, well, there are term limits for the Board of Selectmen, so they're 3-year terms, and you're elected by the general public for the 3-year terms, and you function in that, and if you want to run again, you do. And most people, it is a good deal of work, so most people don't run a lot of terms, but it's that's the way it functions in terms of being elected and doing.
But there's no limit to how many terms you can run.
No, there's not term limits. So some board members run 1, 2, 3, 4 or more even, which seems like quite a lot to me. But that's what they do. Some people do, but maybe less so nowadays because it's fairly complicated. There's a lot of things going on. It takes a good amount of time. It's very worthwhile work, but it's a commitment.
All right, now let's move into more of the community. When did you first become a resident of Cohasset?
1991. I moved here with my wife and my family. We moved here. We lived in Situate, so we moved here. The children were getting older. We needed a bigger house, so we looked around, ended up buying a house here in Cohasset, and I moved here with my wife and 2 daughters. and we've been here quite happily ever since. And I raised my children, we did in Cohasset. They went to the Cohasset school system. We've had the whole full Cohasset experience, including me being involved in local government.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything about the town that you're most proud of?
I think that thing that we can all take pride in Cohasset is its historic heritage is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even in America or maybe in other parts of the world like Europe and so the communities go back for centuries even. But in this country we live in a community that's 300 or more years old, and you've just simply got to take pride in that. But even more than just the number of years is the fact for all of those years we've been locally governed. We're grassroots town meeting managed society. Mm-hmm. And that's very different from a lot of other towns and cities in the United States. People move here from different states and they're really baffled by the government that we have, because we're citizen run, with votes of the citizen at town hall directly determine what's going to occur in the government. So that I take a great deal of pride in. I think everybody should. I take a great deal of pride in the harbor. We have a beautiful harbor and a fantastic sea, being a town by the sea tradition. We're a seacoast community. We have a deep fishing and fisherman tradition, and that's something I think that we should all be proud of as well. Just distinctly, as anybody goes through town, our town common is an object of a great deal of pride. So those are a few of the things, but there's a lot of things to be proud of about living in Cohasset.
Yeah. Now, being on the board, do you know of any improvements or updates coming to the town that the public may not be aware of?
Well, one thing is we're going to be painting the entire town hall sometime within the next probably 6 weeks or so. So when that does get done, it's somewhat cosmetic. It isn't the complete full job we had hoped to have being done now, but the town hall will really look, should look really good and be fully ready for the 2020 celebrations, which is going to be coming next year. And that'll be a whole slew of activities where we celebrate our 250th year, and that'll be tremendous. We also have 3 studies that have occurred: a master plan, a harbor plan, and a recreation plan. We spent the town voted a good amount of money to do these studies, and from that it's going to come a whole slew of programs related to improvements and changes in the harbor and Route 3A and various implementation of those plans that are just coming out now. It's a very busy time in Cohasset.
Now, for residents who want to become part of the board, how do they apply and what are the qualifications needed?
Anybody who wants to be a member of the Board of Selectmen, a citizen of the United States and a registered voter. Anybody who has those qualifications is welcome to run for a Board of Selectmen. And it's interesting to run a campaign like that. When you run, even though we're a small town, you do everything you need to know to run for governor or senator or anything when you run for the selectman's position, because you've got to do a campaign, you've got to have supporters, you've got to have posters, you've got to do door knocking, you set up policies, you do advertising and marketing. It's a tremendous experience in democracy to run or work on any of our committees. You really learn a lot.
Mm-hmm. And when you're not working, when you're off on your free time, what's something you enjoy doing?
I like to practice yoga. I've been doing that for a number of years. I had a daughter that, when she got out of college, decided to end up traveling around the world. So she went to India and lived in an ashram and stuff for a few months. And when she came back, she really was telling me about how great yoga is. And she became an instructor, and so she taught and got me involved in it. So I practice yoga, which I find very satisfying. I have a dog, Buttons is her name. It's a Boston Terrier. Mm-hmm. Anybody who knows me may have seen me walk around, but I love to take her down to the harbor or take her a walk in the woods, and so my dog is a wonderful hobby. I read quite a bit. I usually have 2 books going. I read early in the morning, and then I read another book in the afternoon, and so I really love to read as well.
All right. To conclude, is there any message you want to give to the town of Cohasset?
Well, I suppose our message would be is that, maybe it's because I've been involved in local government, is to bring to people's attention how, if a lot of people do know, but how much local government impacts people's everyday lives and their family lives. In the school systems, the senior center, the recreation center, the roads. the taxes and the involvement of local government that you control in a community like Cohasset, because we're a grassroots town meeting driven government, involves 50 or 60% of your life, much more so than the state or federal government does on a regular basis. So the message is that there's a great deal that the local government has to do with the quality of life, and I give as a charge to the community, or anybody who's listening to this, I give as a charge to get involved in any way. It doesn't have to run for office, but any kind of community activity, because that's what makes living in Cohasset, or a community like this, much more worthwhile, and it's so good for the community. So that would be a message and a charge I would give to the community.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Kevin. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Jack. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.